Well, I've got another story for you, and I like this one a lot. This one, it says inside, it belongs to Matthew Hadding. That's Daddy. And it's called Stone Soup. Would you eat soup made with a stone? A young man was walking. He walked and he walked. He walked all night and he walked all day. He was tired and he was hungry. And there he is. He's tired. He can barely walk. And he's thinking about some soup. At last, he came to a big house. What a fine house, he said. There will be plenty of food for me here. He knocked on the door. A little old lady opened it. Good lady, said the young man, I am very hungry. Can you give me something to eat? I have nothing to give you, said the little old lady. I have nothing in the house. I have nothing in the garden. And she began to close the door. There she is, telling him she has no food to share with him. Stop, said the young man. If you will not give me something to eat, will you give me a stone? A stone, said the little old lady. What will you do with a stone? You cannot eat a stone. Ah, said the young man, I can make soup from a stone. Now the little old lady had never heard of that. Make soup from a stone? Fancy that. There are stones in the road, said the little old lady. The young man picked up a round gray stone. This stone will make a wonderful soup, he said. Now, get me a pot. The little old lady got a pot. Fill the pot with water and put it on the fire, the young man said. The little old lady did as she was told. As soon as the water was bubbling in the pot, and soon the water was bubbling in the pot. The young man put the round gray stone into the pot. Now we will wait for the stone to cook into soup, he said. The pot bubbled and bubbled. After a while, the little old lady said, This soup is cooking fast. It is cooking fast now, said the hungry young man, but it would cook faster with some onions. And there's the soup on the pot, in the pot on the stove. And here's the boy waiting with his flute on his nose, balancing it. And the lady is talking about the soup. So the little old lady went to the garden to get some yellow onions. There she is. She's in the garden. You guys do grow things in the garden to eat too, don't you? Into the pot went the yellow onions with the round gray stone. Soup from a stone, said the little old lady. Fancy that. The pot bubbled and bubbled. After a while, the little old lady said, This soup smells good. It smells good now, said the hungry young man, but it would smell better with some carrots. So the little old lady went out to the garden and pulled up all the carrots she could carry. Into the pot went the long, thin carrots, with the yellow onions and the round gray stone. And you can see the pot through the window inside the house cooking while the little old lady is pulling the carrots out of the ground. Do you like carrots? I like carrots. Soup from a stone, said the little old lady. Fancy that. The pot bubbled and bubbled. After a while, the little old lady said, This soup looks good. It looks good now, said the hungry young man, but it would look better if you threw in a chicken or two. And there's the pot boiling away, and there's the young man talking to the lady about the soup. So the little old lady went to the chicken house to get 2 fat chickens. There they are. She's catching them. See, she's chasing them and grabbing them by the legs. Into the pot went the 2 fat chickens with the long, thin carrots and the yellow onions and the round gray stone. And there's that soup cooking away. Soup from a stone, said the little old lady. Fancy that. The pot bubbled and bubbled. After a while, the little old lady said, This soup tastes good. It tastes good now, said the hungry young man, but it would taste better with beef bones. And there's the soup cooking, and there's the little old lady talking about the soup, and it looks like the young man is taking a nap and dreaming about all kinds of food. Do you see a turkey and a big ham and a bowl full of fruit and a pie and even more things? So the little old lady went to get some juicy beef bones. Uh-oh. I think that she took those beef bones away from the dog. I don't think the dog would be too happy about that. Into the pot went the juicy beef bones with the 2 fat chickens, the long thin carrots, and the yellow onions, and the round gray stone. And there's the soup cooking away, up on top of the stove. Soup from a stone, said the little old lady. Fancy that. The pot bubbled and bubbled. After a while, the little old lady said, This soup is fit for a prince. It is fit for a prince now, said the hungry young man, but it would be fit for a king with a bit of pepper and a handful of salt. Oh, there he's tasting it. So the little old lady got the pepper and the salt. Into the pot, the bit of pepper and the handful of salt, with the juicy beef bones, and the 2 fat chickens, and the long thin carrots, and the yellow onions, and the round gray stone. Soup from a stone, said the little old lady. Fancy that. The pot bubbled and bubbled. After a while, the little old lady said, This soup is too thin. It is too thin now, said the hungry young man, but it would be nice and thick with some butter and barley. And there's the soup cooking, and there's the young man tasting the soup with the little old lady. So the little old lady went to get butter and barley. And that's how butter is made, with a butter churn. Into the pot went the butter and barley, with the bit of pepper and the handful of salt, and the juicy beef bones, and the 2 fat chickens, and the long thin carrots, and the yellow onions, and the round gray stone. That pot must be getting very full now with all those things in it. Soup from a stone, said the little old lady. Fancy that. The pot bubbled and bubbled. After a while, the little old lady tasted the soup again. That is good soup, she said, Yes, said the hungry young man, this soup is fit for a king. Now we will eat it. Stop, said the little old lady. This soup is indeed fit for a king. Now I will set a table fit for a king. So she took out her best tablecloth and her best dishes. Then the little old lady and the hungry young man ate all the soup. And there they are. The soup made with the butter and barley, and the bit of pepper and the handful of salt, and the juicy beef bones, and the 2 fat chickens, and the long thin carrots, and the yellow onions, and the round gray stone. Soup from a stone, said the little old lady. Fancy that. And there all the soup is eaten, and the young man is smiling because he's got a nice full tummy. Now, I must be on my way, said the young man. He took the stone out of the pot and put it into his pocket. Why are you taking the stone? Said the little old lady. Well, said the young man, the stone is not cooked enough. I will have to cook it some more tomorrow. And the young man said goodbye. He walked down the road. He walked and he walked. What a fine supper I will have tomorrow, he said to himself. Soup from a stone. Fancy that. And there he is, saying goodbye to the little old lady and walking down the road with his stone. Did you like that story? Do you think that the young man played a trick on the little old lady? Bye-bye. Love you.